what Phil Spencer had to say to The Verge regarding tribalism and fanboys. I'll read it to you and then we will discuss. Speaking to The Verge, Spencer says he finds toxic brand loyalty to be distasteful and despises the idea that companies like Microsoft have to see others fail in order to achieve their goals. That tribalism in the industry, if there was anything that would ever drive me out of the industry, it's actually that. When a team releases something into the market for the world to tear it apart on the internet, it's just such a brave thing for a team to do. I'm never going to vote against any creative team or any product team to do poorly because I have a competitive product. It's not in me. I don't actually think it helps us in the long run in the industry. But there is a core that just really hates the other consumer product. Man, that's just so off-putting to me. To me, it's one of the worst things about our industry. That's
okay.
Team or any product.
All right. So that's Phil Spencer talking to The Verge, I guess he said. Review Tech USA. Cool channel. He's a little weird, but a lot of times he has a good video like this, or oftentimes. And I actually saw somebody like have a problem with one of his videos because he has a PlayStation 5. It's like, he has a PlayStation 5. He's probably a scalper. How'd he get one? Bruh. Stop it. Stop it. Over 2 million consoles were sold. Everyone didn't go to a scalper. But anyway, you know how people do with their content creation. They got to do extra and be extra. But when you knocking somebody else for having one, stop it. Anyway, so I'm going to address a few things and try to be quick because whatever. First off, I'm going to say this. When a team releases something into the market for the world to tear it apart on the internet, it's just such a brave thing for a team to do. Stop it, bruh. That's how you know this dude is doing PR. Now, I like what he said about the fanboy stuff, and I'm with that, and it's necessary for somebody like him to say it, because in real talk, it's Microsoft fanboys, in my experience, that are the worst. Because, see, the people who winning, they ain't got that much to fanboy about, other than, they're winning. But the people who are really nasty and crazy, I'm sorry, it's Xbox all day, at least from my personal experience. But for him to say that lets you know how full of it he is. I'm sorry, just my opinion, because, bruh, what you talking about? It's such a brave thing to do for a team to release something for the public and the internet to ridicule it. That's your job. Like, that's your job. Like, if that's the case, me putting out this content to be ridiculed on social media when I don't have a $1 trillion company backing me, that's more brave than you being backed by a $1 trillion company to produce a product that, and most likely, is going to be good when you already got a fan base on top of it. Like, stop. And you got like millions of people or thousands of people working together to make sure whatever you're presenting, even what you say, is going to be accepted and on a larger scale than not. But anyway, like I said, good that he said it. Also, let me speak on, like, I just did the video where I did the kind of the spoof, attempted spoof, low budget spoof of the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special and talking about the fanboys of Microsoft. Because, again, even Microsoft and Sony do little jabs at each other and play. That, in good taste, you can play and do things like that. What fanboyism is, for those who don't know, is when you have to consistently knock the other person, even when they're doing good things. And you support your brand or your preference or what you like, even when they're doing bad things. That's the difference about fanboys, because there's nothing wrong with knocking Microsoft for doing bad. Facts. Because even Microsoft fans have a problem with what Microsoft has been doing. Failing to produce a good Halo game, failing to do other things for just their fan base overall on a good level where they could feel, certain confidence and certain pride about the product that they're spending their money on. So honestly, and here's my thing. So my biggest reason for feeling some kind of way about specifically Microsoft fanboys, because again, I'm not with fanboying, period, whether it's Sony or Microsoft, but again, understanding what fanboy is. you still praise your company when they do bad things. Because I criticize Sony in a heartbeat. I hate the fact that they're not backwards compat to PS2 at least. I hate the fact that you can't use the old controllers, even though I love the new controllers. And I'm a little bit more understanding about that to a certain extent. But I also hate the fact that they did not give us enough space. And you're talking about, they just, PlayStation just went on Twitter talking about, here, let me show you how to download the games you've purchased on the PS Store onto your PS5. I'm like, what the hell are you showing me that for? I ain't got enough space for the games I got. Like, come on. So, real talk, that's an issue. And the fact that, again, I get it. We can give excuses for 2020 and whatnot as far as why they don't have the internal, I'm not even going to try to say the name of it, but the certain kind of external or internal expansion that you can do, the faster memory stick that you can put inside of the console that's not even live because they don't even have, they haven't approved other vendors to supply that. So, again, I don't like the fact that I feel like, honestly, I get it. It's hard to not release a console during a holiday season and a fourth quarter from a business standpoint, especially when your competition is. So, but I almost feel like they should have waited till like maybe February or March to release the system and could have had a lot of this stuff ironed out. But it is what it is. So, getting back to what I was saying, so about the fanboyism. So, there's nothing wrong with, like I did with the spoof and the Charlie Brown thing. Oh, okay. Sorry. So my big point is, why do I specifically have an issue with Microsoft fanboys? Because what I've come across more often than not is Microsoft fanboys vehemently saying how much better they are than Sony and trashing Sony left and right with no real facts. In most cases, what they're saying is not even true. And it's like, if you like what you like, why don't I hear you talking more about why you like it and less about what you don't like? To me, it seems like the Microsoft fanboys spend more time talking about what they don't like than what they like. Whereas the Sony fanboys, I can't really say fanboys, but the people who prefer Sony, which seems to be a lot. I mean, you're talking about 119 million PS4s sold and 47 million Xbox One X's sold. Like, the gap in disparity in that number is such a big deal that you can't just admit that more people prefer that. That's all it is. More people prefer it. And obviously there's something on it that they like. And they have a lot of exclusive games that you will never see and never play on Xbox. So you can talk about how great your console is or how better it is, but if the whole point of having a console is for the game, not to be like, oh, look, it's a great machine. But what can you do with it? It's like having a sports car with nowhere to go. Your street speed limit is 10 miles an hour, and all you got is a cul-de-sac to drive in, and you can't drive it no further. Like, what's the point? There's no point in having a wonderful console if you don't have wonderful games to play it on. So, and again, they backwards compat all the way to Xbox One. So they got more games than you can shake a stick at, more games than a regular person, an average person could play in a year. Dare we say a lifetime. And it's still not enough because, as we all know, there are tons of games, just like there are tons of movies, and a lot of them ain't even worth watching. A lot of games ain't worth playing. They fill it to the high heavens. We got games on games. We got so many games, it's a shame. Like, real talk. But we always want the next new thing, and we do want a new experience, and we want a different experience, and every game is not for every person. So, when you take all those factors in, why then are we knocking people for their preference? If you like Xbox, I get it. Most all gamers know, like, oh yeah, the controller is nice. It's one of the best controllers. Like, even though I preferred, when I had a 360, I preferred the controller to the PlayStation, I still found myself playing the PlayStation more because of the games. So even after the 360, I never bought another Xbox. There was no reason to for me. I experienced Halo. That was the first time on the 360. Was the first time they had a four-player campaign mode, which I love because I'm not really big on online plans. So the fact that the campaign you can do online was wonderful to me. I wish I could enjoy that more on Destiny. I just can't. Sometimes with Destiny, I don't even know what the next thing is to do. So I hate that I haven't really played that more. But anyway, Destiny 2, I think, yeah. So, uh, and then I played Gears of War, which I really appreciated too. But once I had the experience of Gears of War and enjoyed it and liked it and everything, it wasn't enough to compel me to be like, I want to get another system specifically for that game, specifically for Halo or Gears of War. It's not a console pusher for me, just for me personally. Whereas, like I said, if I'm spending most of my time on a PlayStation, yeah, I can see me doing that. Even though I must admit, when I got the PS4, I must have been at an interesting point in my life because I definitely didn't get one of the newer ones. I got one of the, the later editions or whatever, and I had no idea that it wasn't backwards compared to the PS3. And that's disgusting and ridiculous. Another knock on Sony for that crap. That was some bull. Ridiculous, disgusting. So, but man, Microsoft fanboys, bruh, they have such gall and specialness. Like, for example, I follow PlayStation on Twitter now. I just started doing this crap just because I'm content creating. Before that, I didn't even touch Twitter. But so I follow Sony and I go on there to look at what they're saying, and I'm like, okay, let me see. Okay, what's up? And then in the comments, I see somebody like, your system sucks and blah blah. And then it's an Xbox fanboy, and you like, why are you wasting your time if you don't like Sony and you don't like the PlayStation? Why are you even on their page just to throw shade at them? Like, what's wrong? Like, you ain't got nothing better to do. Like, for real. Like, that's how sad and disturbing the Microsoft fanboys are. And honestly, their fan base as a whole a little bit, because prime example. So I wasn't following when the PS4 and Xbox One X came out, but I'm hearing all the reports and things that were said when it was coming out. And the same things that were said, and I'm seeing the reports, the same things that were said about the Xbox One X is the same thing they're saying about the Xbox Series X. And some people actually made the caveat in saying that it was the fanboys saying it more so than the company. Possibility. In regard to the Xbox Series X. In regard to the Xbox One X, it was the company, because I've seen the actual reports coming from the people. In regard to this generation, I guess I haven't been able to research and find out if it's true that the company didn't say that they would be, that first off, they said that the third-party games would play better on their system. They had the more powerful system. All those things because of the numbers, again, the specs on the paper. Well, the fanboys took it and ran with it, is what's being said, and they were just, Sony doesn't have a chance, and even when Xbox Series X was released at the Game Awards or whatever, they were like, oh look, they caught Sony with their pants down, they're scared, they don't know what to do, they don't know what's going to happen, blah blah blah, Microsoft is going to win, blah 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 blah. All this stuff keep getting said generation after generation, and the gap is so big in the numbers and the disparity of the market share that Sony has, that realistically, we really need Microsoft to do better so that we can keep Sony accountable. But, Microsoft is steady showing at every turn that they trying to go a whole nother direction. They trying to do Fire Sticks. They trying to do, Game Pass and streaming and, be the Netflix of gaming, anyway. But, whatever we can squeeze out of the turnip of Microsoft to help make Sony somewhat accountable for doing better by their customer base, we try to make it happen. But man, they're not helping us. They helping us they're not helping us enough. And honestly, the Microsoft fanboys, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I mean, I guess it's like a diehard Jets fan, I guess, or Yeah, maybe even dare I say the Raiders, even though I support the Raiders, and I'm gonna be because of my girl and my friends. I'm a Raider fan, even though I do like Kansas City. But because I'm from the Midwest, I'm from St. Louis, so we ain't got no football team. We had the Rams, and they came and went, whatever. And of course, we had the Cardinals even before that, but whatever. So bottom line is, I don't get the arrogance. I don't get the arrogance of Microsoft fanboys really thinking that that their console is the best thing since water, and that the minute they can hear or see anything negative about Sony PlayStation, they getting in their caravan with their flags and going out into the public and saying stuff. I'm gonna leave that right there. But hey, big ups to Phil Spencer though, whether it's PR or not, for him even saying it or addressing it. I'll give him props for that, because it needs to be said from the source. If the source says it, then the fanboys got to kind of line up a little bit. Case in point, in the situation we got in America right now, if a certain person says something, they can check the people that's following them that's a little crazy. Same thing with Microsoft. They got to say something to keep their crazies in check and need to calm them down, flat out. So I'm glad he did it, because honestly, he need to calm them jokers down, because it ain't going to get any prettier the way it's looking. The way it's looking. PlayStation is going to take off like a rocket, like it has already, PlayStation 5, and the games will continue to come. The success will continue to come. They will not be left in the dust when it comes to graphics and performance. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion at this point, even though it's still yet to be seen. But realistically, I think it's a very strong, you can make an extremely strong argument that those are the facts. That the PlayStation 5 is not going to be a big, those numbers on the paper is not taking up the gap of the quality of the exclusive games that will be played on the PlayStation 5, not to mention the experience of what it's like to have one of these in your hand and the way the games play with it, not to mention the 3D audio, which I know a lot of people are knocking these. I like them. They work for me. Matter of fact, something else I noticed, my controller was low on battery juice, and so I switched it out, which is why for me it makes sense to have two, even if you by yourself, because when one's getting low, throw it on the charger and grab your other one. When I did that, the sound magnified. I was like, oh, so the battery life in here affects the sound on the headphones. I'm gonna have to do another video about that, because I bet you most people don't even know that. So, obviously that'll be like a quick 1 or 2 minute video, because I'm just gonna say it and keep it moving. But anyway, I didn't hit y'all with 20 minutes of specialness, so I'm gonna call it a day. But PlayStation, you got a winner. Again, I just hope you do right by your customers. Give us that backwards compatibility to PS2. Even though I know they want us to just pay for everything through PS Now, which is, I'm not about that life. You ain't gonna for to charge me to play games I already own. I know there's other games on PS Now that I don't own, but all the games that I want to play from back in the day, I still own them. So when I'm gonna pay you for it? I just need your system to be backwards compat, so I ain't got to do that. I mean, heck, Xbox backwards compat and the Game Pass. Same thing. Just do that. And you're definitely in a position to do it. Talking about financially, that Game Pass don't work, but yet Sony talking about, Jim Ryan talking about they got an answer for Game Pass. Well, then apparently you see the point of it. A minute ago you was talking about y'all can't afford it. It don't make sense financially, but now y'all like, oh, we got to do something. Well, of course you got to do something. The first thing you need to do is go backwards compat with the PS5 all the way back to PS2. You ain't got to worry about 1, but if you do 1, fine. I don't care. I didn't have PS1. But at least PS2, because I got a lot of favorite games on there. I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate it. See, here's the thing about it. Even though I'm saying that's what I want or like, I know that the millions of people that support the product would totally love going back to PS2. Would have no qualms about it, because right now we ain't got none. So, I mean, well, we got PS4. But to go back to 2, there would be no complaints. So, yeah, we need to do that. We need to do that. Go back to give us a backwards compat. And, you know, keep coming with some good stuff on that PS Plus. That's what it is. So, 20 minutes and a half. I'm out.